I want everybody in this chat right now to spam W's in the chat for Gareth Southgate. OG, I ain't know you had it in you. Gareth Southgate, you deserve a round of applause tonight. For all the shit that you've gotten these last, I don't know, when did he take over the job? 2016? So it's been, what, 8 years? The last 8 years that you've been in charge of the England national team, all the shit you've taken, a lot of it was rightfully, by the way. All the shit you've taken at this tournament, again, a lot of it was rightfully. But tonight, purely chat, we're not talking about the grand scheme of things. Tonight, his substitutions won the game. Taking off Harry Kane with 15 minutes and possibly extra time as well too. No injury. There was no injury to Harry Kane tonight. There was plenty of football left to play. To take off Harry Kane and not even bring on Ivan Toney, who's been his go-to guy these last few games, but to go deeper down the bench to a guy that we haven't seen since the Denmark game, and Ollie Watkins, a guy who, let's be real, has just been biting his nails, eager to even get a sniff at this tournament. To go that deep in the bench and call on Ollie Watkins to change the game for England, and for Ollie Watkins to deliver in that kind of moment. I'm sorry, if any other manager makes that kind of substitution and that's the kind of impact that they have, they are being heralded to the moon. And if we're being fair here, chat, and that's what I pride myself on, Gareth Southgate deserves that kind of praise. Unbelievable substitution. The assist also comes from his substitution in Cole Palmer. Very good pickup of the ball, direct pass into Ollie Watkins' feet, and the finish, man. The finish from that angle. Let me tell you this, right, chat? Harry Kane is probably the best finisher on the planet for what it's worth, in my opinion. Finishing-wise, Kane is incredible. But Kane is incredible when he has the ball in a certain situation to finish. That finish, that goal from Ollie Watkins tonight, Harry Kane is never scoring that goal at his current age. He's never scoring it. He's never scoring it. For Watkins to pick up the ball in that position and fire it out of his feet from that angle as quickly as he did, that deep into the far corner, that's a sharpshooter finish right there. To get it out of his feet that quickly from that angle, that's not a normal finish. And as great as Harry Kane is at scoring goals, I don't know if Harry Kane in 2024 has that finish in his bag like Ollie Watkins does. Marksman, sharpshooter. What a moment, man. I can't believe it, chat. The way that game was going, it seemed destined for extra time and destined for penalties. That second half from England wasn't pretty, but wow. What I always say on this stream, guys, moments make magic. And Ollie Watkins, you have just taken your moment and ran to the hills with it. So big up you, big up Gareth Southgate. Wow. I can't believe it. England are in the final. But you know what? Right? I'm saying England are in the final like they don't deserve to be. I think they do deserve to be. I've been very harsh on England this entire tournament. You guys who've been watching me this entire tournament know my thoughts on England at the Euros. I think for the most part, they have been poor. For not even forgetting the talent that they have at their disposal. In general, they've been poor. But then when you consider the players, the talent, the level of quality that they have at their disposition, it's even worse. But one thing we have to give England credit for, right? They've actually grown into this tournament. Every single game, there has been improvement. The Switzerland game, for me, was an improvement on what they had against Slovakia. And then tonight, that's their best performance of the tournament. Tonight was England's best performance of the tournament. There's no questioning it. Their best performance of the tournament, especially the first half. The first half, England were, in my opinion, exquisite. Honestly, popping it around the Dutch. Was the goal dubious? Let's talk about the penalty, Chad. Do you guys think that was a penalty? Because I can't lie, right? I've always had like my issues with those kinds of calls because Dumfries' foot is kind of just there. He's not meaning to tackle Kane, and Kane kicks the ball and the follow through hits Dumfries. So in my opinion, I've always thought that it's unfortunate for Dumfries because what's he supposed to do? His foot's already there. No one has quick enough instincts to pull their foot out right at the last minute. I always think of it, right? Like, let's think of Cristiano Ronaldo's bicycle kick against Juventus, right? This is going to be an extreme example, but just hear me out, right? Cristiano Ronaldo's bicycle kick against Juventus. In that moment, I think it's Bentancur putting his head in to try and win the ball. Now imagine if Cristiano Ronaldo hit the bicycle kick, but the ball went over the bar, but then on the follow-up, his foot hits Bentancur's head. Does that mean it's a penalty for Real Madrid? Because the follow-through hits Bentancur. I know it's an extreme example that I'm giving, but you guys kind of hear my logic. Bentancur's head is already there. No human can remove their head from the situation. Dumfries' foot is kind of there. But at the same time, I understand that that's the letter of the law. I mean, to be fair, the commentators were saying it isn't the letter of the law, but studs up like that, he was never winning the ball. He didn't really give Kane room to plant his foot, I guess. I kind of hear it. It is harsh in my opinion, but I've seen those given. Like, if he gave that, which he did, I don't really have an issue with it. If he didn't give it, I would have been like, yeah, I hear him too. But they get themselves back into the game. And I think from that penalty, chat, honestly, even before that, from the Xavi Simons goal, I think England in the first half were brilliant. Honestly, creating chances. Foden was getting himself into great positions, creating chances, should have scored one of them. That one that he hits off the post is like vintage Foden. We've seen him score from that scenario so many times this season. But for the most part, England were popping it, man. Kobbie Mainoo in the first half. Oh, man. Chat, I've said so many times this tournament, right? The young players are the ones defining Euro 2024. And the names I've consistently brought up are Nico Williams, Arda Güler, Lamine Yamal, but I'm sorry, it's time to add Kobbie Mainoo's name into the equation. Let it be known now, whether England win that final or not on Sunday, England's tournament, England's fortunes changed the minute Kobbie Mainoo was introduced into that midfield. That Trent experiment was an eyesore. Brilliant player Trent is. Everyone knows what I think of Trent. For me, I think he's the best right back on the planet. And if he's not, he's top 3. At midfield, never for me. Never for me. Gallagher. You know when it's a good time to bring on Gallagher? Like today, when you have a lead, last 30 seconds, last 2 minutes, go send on that dog to go win the ball back, to go close down space. Outside of that, trying to dictate a football game? Hell no. Not at this level. Not at this level. I'm sorry. Kobbie Mainoo. This is real quality, chat. And to whatever guy was talking on Twitter about, yeah, Kobbie's doing okay, but how many of his passes are really forward? I mean, what can you expect from a nation that we're trying to see Lampard and Gerrard dictate midfields for 10 years? It doesn't always have to go forward, chat. Not every single pass has to be direct and forward and forward and forward. Look at the best international teams of all time. You have guys who are willing to make the short 2, 3, 4 yard passes just to keep the play ticking, just to keep the tempo of the game going, just to keep their team in control. And Kobbie might not be the most progressive passer, but his progressive dribbling, the positions he's taking on the pitch, the roles that he's asking the ball for, uncomfortable positions, but he has the quality to shift a hip and get the ball out of there. You think I'm going there? I'm going the other way. Not many players in the last 10, 15 years for England that England have produced are as adept as Kobbie Mainoo in these tight spaces in midfield as he is. And I'm sorry, England's tournament changed the minute Kobbie Mainoo was introduced, bro. The minute he was introduced in that game against Slovenia, 0-0. I know the game finished 0-0, but you saw it. We watched it on a watch-along. The minute he was introduced, the next 45 minutes, within 30 seconds, you could tell, oh, England are playing different now. England are playing different now. They might not still be amazing on the eye, but all of a sudden they're playing different now. You got another guy in midfield that you can play through. And today, man, that first half, he outshone them all, man. He was on the same pitch as Jude Bellingham, the La Liga Player of the Year. He was on the same pitch as Harry Kane, the Bundesliga Player of the Year. He's on the same pitch as Phil Foden, the English Player of the Year, Premier League Player of the Year. What a very good first half, but we'll talk about him. Kobbie, for me, outshone them all at 19 years old. I don't know if I got any Man United fans in here. Obviously, you guys know Man United is my team. We have a special player on our hands. We have an extremely special player on our hands. Kane didn't win Bundesliga Player of the Year, my fault. But Man United fans. Raf is saying we got a good one. No, we don't have a good one. Good one is like Jesse Lingard is a good one. Jesse Lingard is a good one. We have a special one on our hands. Kobbie Mainoo is a special player. And you guys know me, right? If anything, I get hit with the stick that you're too negative on United. You don't gas United's players enough. I don't gas them for a reason, because I don't think a lot of the players that are playing for United right now are fit to represent the badge when United are at their best. But I'll never say a bad word about Kobbie Mainoo. That is real talent right there. That's real IQ right there. That is an example for senior players at the club to perform at. Kobbie Mainoo is special, man. And I feel like England have just been blessed this tournament that Kobbie Mainoo basically popped onto the scene 6 to 7 months ago, because he has changed their tournament. Incredible player. Incredible player. Foden today, the first half, I think that's the best we've seen him at this tournament. I thought he was incredible the first half. You finally got to see Foden finally replicate some of the form that we saw at City. In the half spaces, picking it up. The goal that he scores, right? He should have finished it. That's the reality. He should have finished it. But the quick feet and the trickery and the close control to even get him to that situation. I don't know if there's anybody on England, bar maybe Mainoo, in terms of close control like that, who would have even carved up that situation to begin with. And one thing's for sure, right? I always say this, chat. Brilliant, smart players know how to play with smart players. And in Kobbie and Foden, you can tell that synergy that they have, that telepathy that they have. They're always looking for each other. Kobbie is always playing Foden in situations, playing it on the correct foot in situations that he wants the ball, and vice versa. Smart players play well with smart players. The one for me, honestly, that I thought today was kind of poor, actually was very poor in my opinion, was Jude Bellingham. And to be honest with you, chat, Jude this entire tournament has been a moments player. And the thing with moments players is that when that moment comes and they deliver, they're the hero. Against Slovakia, I had this whole soliloquy. No one will remember how Jude Bellingham played against Slovakia in 20 years because that moment is going to be on everyone's mind. The issue of moments players is if you don't deliver that moment, what do you kind of have as your platform? What are you platforming that moment with? And at this tournament, I can't lie, the first game, he was exquisite. I thought Jude against Serbia ran the show, and he scored the goal. But since then, I can't lie. Nah, not for me, bro. Not for me, man. And one thing with Jude, right? It's one thing not having a great game, but I think the thing with Jude is he wants to be involved so much that you see him at times overdo it with these chops. He'll chop one way, chop the other way, chop the other way, chop the other way, and then maybe it'll go out for a corner. But at the same time, while it looks great on the eye, he's completely slowed down the game, killed the momentum of the attack. And if you notice when Jude is doing that, all of his teammates are kind of just standing around waiting for him to pick up his head and pass him the ball. So Jude, I was saying it to the SDS guys. We all watch at the cinema at our building right here, right? When it was kind of time to make substitutions, I said I would take off Kane, and I said the other substitution, I don't know who I would take off. But I wouldn't take off Jude, and I know Southgate's not going to take off Jude. Because Jude is one of the few players that can really produce a moment out of nothing. And you never sacrifice those kinds of players. But Jude has to start giving you more performances, bro. Because I can't lie, Watkins is not always going to be able to bail you out like today. That bicycle kick, you're not going to be able to score it every single game. This isn't hate. I think Jude's a brilliant player. But these kinds of performances for, how old is Jude right now? 21 years old. 20 years old. Jude's 21 years old. Just turned 21. These kinds of performances for me aren't good for 21-year-olds. These kinds of performances for me are okay when you're like 30, 31, 32, and your legs are starting to go and you can't give me consistent 90-minute performances. Like Ronaldo towards the end at Real Madrid, no one really cared that he became that kind of player. But at 21 years old, I think performances are very, very important. Now mind this. If England go on to win Euro 2024, no one will remember these performances and everyone will remember the moments. And that's brilliant. But I do feel like, I don't think it's harsh for me to say we need more from Jude. I'm not even an England fan. I'm saying we. England fans need more from Jude. England needs more from Jude. And he's capable of it. I wouldn't be asking this of Jude if I didn't think he was capable of it. But you need performances to back up the moments. I was very hands-off when he scored that bicycle kick. But moments are only good if you're delivering. If you don't have the moments and your performances aren't there either, that's an issue. And like I said, I started off this stream chat by applauding Southgate because I can't believe he had the balls to take off Harry Kane. I cannot believe he had the balls to take him off. It was the right decision. And clearly, he was rewarded for it. But I can't believe he had the balls to do it. Chat, I think every single person that quoted Culture Cam's video saying that in 2026, Harry Kane shouldn't be leading the line, every one of you guys needs to write him a handwritten apology. He held 650 quote tweets. 650 quote tweets. Every one of them needs to write him a handmade apology. Because Kane at this tournament, it's hilarious. I actually agree, Ollie's wheel. He's been horrible this tournament. And yet he's tied for the Golden Boot winner. Harry Kane and Danny Olmo will contest the Golden Boot this weekend. And one of them has started 2 games. The other one has been flat out horrible. Football's a funny sport, man. He scored his penalty, and fair play. It was a brilliant penalty. Wow. Brilliant penalty. But outside of that, man, it's been a typical Harry Kane performance at these Euro 2024. For me, non-existent. Dropping way too deep to feel involved. Not really occupying back fours. At one point, he's linking up with John Stones. We don't need that. England doesn't need that. And I think the substitution that Ollie Watkins came on, and to be honest with you, chat, I was saying this the minute he came on. Immediately, England looked more lively up front. Immediately, you have a bit of movement. You have a guy that's willing to occupy the back four. He's willing to stretch the defense out. And big up to Ollie Watkins, man, because to take his moment like that, it's not easy being a player who hasn't touched the ball for 3-4 games in a row. I'm sure he didn't even know he was going to come on today. He was probably expecting Ivan Toney to come on before him again. He might have thought my tournament's over. But massive, massive credit for him to come on and take his moment the way he did. That's what super subs are there for, bro. That's what Ollie Watkins, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer made his name for in 99. In that exact moment, when the gaffer kind of calls you over and says, change the game for me. You might not only get one chance during the game. You might get one chance in 15 minutes, in 10 minutes, in 5 minutes. But in that moment, can you take your chance? Ollie Watkins, man. Big players make big plays, man. England are becoming the late heroic kings now. Slovakia, the way they kind of bust case in that game. The Jude bicycle kick. Kane in extra time. Even Switzerland going all the way to penalties. And now, with almost the last, well, not the last kick because they added another 2 minutes, but right at the death, Ollie Watkins. England are kind of developing a little bit, dare I say it, the Real Madrid gene, bro. Dare I say it. I don't want to be disrespectful because you're talking about serial winners versus serial losers. But yo, These last minute heroics from England. Wow. You can't count them out, man. And I have to be honest with you, chat. I don't think the Dutch deserved much from this game. Everything from the Dutch came from set pieces or from Declan Rice. The Dutch, for me, would have been the most fortunate team at this entire tournament if they made the final, in my opinion, chat. I can't lie. I think the Dutch would have been extremely fortunate to make the final tonight. Because in the first half, after the Xavi Simons goal, in my opinion, they basically stopped playing. Bro, honestly, right? On set pieces, the Dutch were very dangerous. Obviously, because you got guys like Weghorst, Van Dijk, De Vrij, Dumfries. Like, you got big guys in there. But bar set pieces, and bar Declan Rice not having his mirrors turned on, I didn't think the Dutch were that threatening tonight, bro. I can't lie. And that's not to say England in the second half were brilliant, because I think after the interval, they weren't great. But for me, England are deserving finalists, in my opinion. For me, the Dutch, honestly, are the biggest benefactors of how the bracket got played. Because genuinely, if they had played on the other side of the bracket, they would have been eliminated in the first round. Playing Romania as your first game, then playing Turkey, who for me were even lucky to get past Austria. And then tonight, I think the Dutch were extremely fortunate to even make it this far into the tournament. What do we want to even say about the Dutch? I can't lie. The Val Weghorst. First of all, Memphis Depay. Oh my God, what a stinker of a tournament. And I can't lie, this is putting a lot of mud on the records of international countries. The fact that Memphis Depay is on the verge of becoming the Dutch's all-time top scorer, a country that's produced the likes of Van Basten, Van Persie, Bergkamp, Van Nistelrooy, Huntelaar, Hasselbank, Johan Cruyff, for God's sake. And Depay is on the verge of being the top scorer in the Dutch's history. And he's not the only one, right? You look at a lot of the national teams and who their top scorers are or who they're going to be. It ain't a good look, bro. It might be a case that we're getting too many friendlies, too many Nations League games, too many qualifiers against 100th place in the world. Because at these international tournaments, these guys aren't showing up, bro. Lyes, I'll never forget what you said about Watkins. One of the best back-to-goal strikers. Fair play to you. They laughed at me when I said that. I think I said that 2-3 years ago, bro. It's been a minute since I said that. Maybe it was 2 seasons ago. I don't want to give myself too much credit. Was it 3 seasons ago? I think it was 2. For me, Watkins, right? In world football, I'm not even talking about in the Premier League, chat. And I've said this for a minute. The receipts are there. In terms of running the channels, in terms of holding the ball up with a defender on his back, in terms of in the air, aerial threat, in terms of occupying defenses, period, Watkins is one of the best strikers in the game at that. And now that he's added this finishing package in the last 12 months, he is one of the best strikers in the world. Now, the fact that I'm saying that probably has a lot to do with the fact that the striker market at the moment isn't that great. I hear that. But Watkins is one of the better strikers in the world. The fact that Ollie Watkins is England's backup striker, hell, he might be their third choice striker, speaks the depth that England have at that position. In fact, England and Kane, Watkins, and Tony, that's probably the best striker depth at the entire tournament. It might be the best striker depth on the planet.